7.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Bond does Deutschland. It's Kirsty Bond in Germany.
Ex-producer of the Kiwi Breakfast, Kirsty Bond's with us this morning. Hello to you, Kirsty.
Hello to you. How are you?
I'm very well. Today, a tidbit of news from that part of the world regarding a naked protest. But what the heck are they protesting about? Kirsty, what's this about?
Well, there's been quite a few protests in Germany lately. I think it was last time I was speaking to you, we were talking about protesting against radioactive waste being transported through the country, and mostly the protests are just people kind of going out on the street and making some kind of public presence and doing an open demonstration. But this time they're protesting against rising rent prices in Berlin in particular. And so there's a bunch of young Berliners who basically turn up to flat viewings. They do, when they show people through a new apartment here, they do it in groups. So these people just turn on up to the flat naked. They bust on into the living room of the apartment. They crank on the ghetto blaster with some techno music, and they just start dancing wearing cartoon masks.
Of course, it's techno music because it's Germany. It's got to be techno music.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And cartoon masks, you say, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Cartoon masks, so their identities are concealed. But their bits are just hanging out there and they're jigging around, and it's really quite novelty. I don't know exactly how much traction it's going to make with bringing down the prices of rent in Berlin, but it's gotten a little bit of attention towards the cause, at least.
Well, it's certainly a refreshing change to picketing outside, with posters and statements and yelling and yahooing. This is certainly from left field, I guess.
Exactly. They call themselves Hedonist International, and they definitely get 10 points for creativity. Basically, they're saying they're not actually doing anything illegal, so they're not entering unwelcome into the apartment because it's a public viewing, so they're allowed to be there. That it's not indecent exposure because they're not outside on the street being naked.
Right. They're
just dancing around in the living room.
Is there some more openness in German society to nakedness?
I would say yes. Yeah, I've noticed that actually. They tend to be a little bit more comfortable with their bodies than we New Zealanders or even British people probably are. So they're quite into the sauna, going in there with colleagues or neighbours, people who you would normally see clothed, and they're quite happy just to sit around in a sauna naked, having an everyday chat.
Because you've got a job over there. How many have you been invited to the sauna for a naked session?
I've been avoiding the sauna personally, but my husband was on like a work conference the other week, and he was quite surprised that these colleagues who would normally be dressed in suits and passing each other in the corridor at work would just go and strip off naked together in the sauna and then be quite comfortable about it. He didn't partake.
Well, I guess, if there's nothing overtly sexual about it or anything like that, then there's something quite nice about that freedom within German society, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's anything sexual about it at all. It's just more, they're just more at peace with the way they look and with naked and with other people seeing it.
Cool.
Yeah, they have a lot of nudist beaches as well, especially in former East Germany along the Baltic Sea. Apparently, back when it was communist, they had like pretty much 90% of people would go on family holidays and just hang out on the beach naked, and that was just part of the culture.
Because we're all equal under the communist regime.
That's right. But nowadays they're kind of they've got little signs up saying where the nudists have to hang out and where the clothed people can.
Yeah, and so getting back to the original protest, so is it actually quite significant, these rent rises? Have you noticed? Has your rent been put up at all?
Mine hasn't. No, I don't live in Berlin, but Berlin has a reputation for being quite a cheap place to live, and especially compared to other European capital cities like Paris or London, for example. Berlin's it's attracted a lot of people due to the fact that it's been affordable living all this time, and it's been like a trendy, creative kind of hub. So a lot of people have moved there, and there was like an oversupply of apartments basically, which kept the rents down, as well as the fact that a lot of the buildings weren't in the greatest condition because they were in the former east part of Berlin.
Yeah.
And now these parts of town have become more trendy, and lots of people have moved there, and it's like this gentrification things going on where they're doing up apartments and making them a bit flasher, and then it's causing it's basically meaning that a lot of people who are looking for affordable places to live have to wait for about 6 months before they can even find somewhere to move into. And they say that the rents have risen there by about 50% in the last couple of years in some parts of town.
It's happening in most cities around the world where there has been sort of trendy arts and culture sort of areas that have been gentrified. So I know it's happened in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch here as well. So it's quite common, I suppose. Well, I guess maybe the nudist thing might catch on as a form of protest against these kinds of things.
Well, yeah, who knows? It might spread to other parts of the world. If you're finding that rents are rising there in Auckland, perhaps you might want to start a little group up yourself, Wammo.
We'll see. Thanks very much, Kirsty. Cheers for that.
Right, bye.
Kirsty Bond there in Germany, ex-producer of the Kiwi Breakfast.